Do you guys remember back in the day when, like, you know, The Simpsons would drop the Treehouse of Horror episodes? I waited all year for those. I don't know if you guys did that or not, but I did. That's what this is. This is my Treehouse of Horror episode. But we're not in a treehouse. We're actually in the Salt House. So I guess the Salt House of Horror episodes. Back in the day, I used to end each episode with, do you believe in ghosts? Or do you have ghost stories? My plan all along was to take those episodes and do a compilation, but not a compilation that like most creators do, where it's like, hey, we're doing some downtime right now. Let's do a compilation of some of our favorite episodes. These are never before released clips from previous guests. Let's get to it. So first up tonight is my friend Kay. She came on for the Shining episode, so if you haven't watched that, check it out, especially if you're a Shining fan, because we go through all the theories about all that. She recently just got married, and her husband now, Randy, is actually off screen while we film this. So you'll hear a little bit of banter, but when I asked Kay if she had any ghost stories, this is what we got. You have any ghost stories?
We talked about all this when we did my arm.
Yeah, but we didn't talk about it on film.
Actually, when you were talking about moving stuff, we just got into an argument. I don't know if you actually did this. If you did this, it fucks me up.
Her fiance's off screen right here.
Yeah. We have a wedding, like, whatever it is, countdown to our wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And
like with Christmas?
No, like
does
the
it
little
have
numbers.
Chocolates in it?
No, I wish I had chocolates.
Oh.
It's like a little like number flipper. So random, but I actually do have a relative in my house. It's my Uncle Johnny. I'm supposed to give him to my aunt. He's cremated, obviously, in a little urn.
Okay, I was like, go on.
Yeah, he's in a little urn, and I have him in our china cabinet. I'm supposed to give him to my aunt. So.
How long has he been there?
Oh God, like a year. So he's supposed to go.
Top priority.
Yeah, love my Uncle Johnny. He's crazy. So anyway, my dogs, every now and then, it's real late at night because I'm a late shifter. So I stay up. Well, Ripley will like look around the coffee table and he'll be looking at the china cabinet. And I'll be like, Uncle Johnny, stop. And like Ripley will just go around. And he's like, he obviously stops messing with my dog. That's what I think because my Uncle Johnny loved dogs, right? Anyway, wedding countdown thing. The numbers switched, and I don't keep track of it. His daughter, she's 7. She's like, oh, I love the numbers. How many days? You know, and I'm like, whatever. It's just on the table. It's decor. And he's like, have you been changing this? He's like, because I just looked at the day, and like, this is how many days till we get married? And I'm like, no. He's like, well, then your mom came over here, and she's messing with it, because my mom lives across the street. And I was like, no, she hasn't been over. So we actually got into a legit argument.
You guys sure you're not already married having this kind of fight?
Yeah,
This seems like I'm already married kind of fight.
Yeah. When I lived in Shelbyville, we had a house on West Taylor Street right by the jail. So we had a dog, same thing, and like he slept in a cage. Well, one night, I swear, like I heard his cage like moving. Well, he came flying in my room at night, and he's a Chihuahua, half blind. He came straight to my room, right? So he's in my room, whatever. The next day, like wake up, his cage has like imprints on the floor, different ways. And that house, I feel like, had a demonic presence. Like, something in that house was not right. It had a whole crawl space. It was there for, like, 85 to 100 years. Like, it was an old house. You could smell it, kind of, you know? But just weird things would happen. Like, I would always hear my mom, like, yelling for me. And I would, like, walk in her and be like, what do you want? And she's like, what are you talking about? Like, you were yelling for me. She's like, I haven't said your name, you crazy ass, you know? But it's, like, I do believe in that stuff.
Have you ever seen anything?
So we actually had a psychic. I remember being, like, 12 years old. And we were at my aunt's house, and all the adults were like in the garage, and I was like, you know, the oldest kid, so I watched the kids. Well, everybody kept coming in and crying. And there was this like skinny little white dude sitting on a stool telling stories. Well, when I went out there, he's like apparently talking to people's relatives that are coming through to him, right? When I go out there, he's like, your grandma just wanted me to say like the savings bonds are in your birthday card in the box. And my grandma passed away, and she always gave me savings bonds. I didn't even know this dude. This dude didn't know my family, like, you know, whatever. And at that point, like, the power wheel, like, the whole push power wheel started and, like, hit the fucking wall. And I remember that, and I was, like, 12, you know? And it was just, like, a bunch of stories, and he talked about, he's like, your dad is missing, like, 4 fingers, and he is. He only has, well, yeah. So, literally, my dad lost 4 fingers, putting him in a wood cutter. And he just was, like, telling me that because my grandma was telling him that to make me believe she was there. And that's where, like, I really believed early on because I was like, I don't believe that shit. But then he, like, knew things, but he was not my family. He was not my family's friend. Like, why would he know about my great grandma that passed away like 9 years ago? You know, it was really weird. So
I picked that one because even though I was asking her about ghost stories, she then told me about a psychic that she experienced. I'm going to give that one a little bit of credibility because when I was filming her wedding, unrelated and somehow, I don't even know how it came up, her family actually started talking about the night that the psychic came and everything lined up exactly how she said. Okay, so up next, I got my boy Jason Dinwiddie. Jason, I think, was the first or second episode, I think episode 2. He's had some experiences for sure. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but a lot's changed in the channel. And the location I'm currently filming in right now is actually in the Salt House, which he refers to. So some of these ghost stories are actually on the Salt House documentary, but you're going to hear a little bit more about them uncut right here. Ghost stories.
All right.
I know you got some.
I guess I'll start with my very first ever probably ghost encounter. It was I don't really remember how long afterwards, but my grandpa had passed, and he had lived basically in the basement of this house. And the way the basement was set up, it was great. It was like 2 houses in one. But anyway, long story short. So anyway, eventually, I think I don't remember how long had passed, but I decided I was getting older. I wanted to have more privacy, so I was like, I'm going to move down to the basement. So I moved into the same room, still set up the same way and all that stuff, and I think it was my first night. I was drifting off to sleep, had rolled over and felt something push, like somebody like just pushed down on the bed or something right behind me. And I jumped and I looked over the corner, and the way this room was, it was like a living room, and there was a fireplace, and then there was like a walkway into a kitchen area. And in the kitchen area, I saw this red mist, and I was freaked out. I felt dread. I felt, just freaked out. And I remember running upstairs, sleeping in the living room for like 3 days, something like that. So finally, after, a few days, all right, man, I'm going to go back down there, Probably nothing. It was probably just my mind or whatever. I went back down there. Same exact scenario. Although this time I was drifting off. I felt something again, but it wasn't the jolt. It was more like just like somebody was sitting there. And I remember looking over, and I looked in that same corner, and it was a white mist, not red, it was white this time. And I just felt calm, completely cool. And I remember just rolling back over and going to sleep. And that was the end of it, But that was my first ever where I was like, holy, that was something different. Now here, since I've been playing with you, I've seen all kinds of stupid ass shit, man. Your places of business and places where you've lived have been pretty spectacular for some ghostings, man.
Well, here we've even had it.
Oh yeah, here even. I mean, nothing as crazy as your old house, I will say. Your old house was pretty damn creepy, dude.
You freaked me out real bad one night. I look over at you and you're kind of like ghost white, no pun intended. And you're just like sitting there and you're like obviously freaked the fuck out at something. You remember that?
It was like something like literally just popped around the corner, like just boom, I remember seeing a face, like there was a face there.
So what are some experiences you had at the old house?
Honestly, like while we were playing there, it wasn't really that crazy. I think the only thing I can remember when we were actually playing was I always got that sulfur smell and I would be the only one, and if I remember right, we practiced in that one room. It was like that middle.
Yeah, the old funeral room.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And it was either my drums were in the corner or the back wall. And I always smelled that smell all the time. I'd be like, you guys smell that? And they'd be like, no. Nobody would smell it, but constantly I would smell it like all the time.
And at that time, I remember that. There were 5 of us dudes in that room.
And it's not a very big room.
No.
Not at all. I mean, we're...
Yeah, we were sardined in there.
And
I went in there the other day and walked by that room and smelt rotten eggs.
Yeah.
For a split second, and Jackie and CJ were with me, and I was like, "Do you guys smell that?" And they're like, "No."
It wouldn't be all the time, but it seemed like every time we did practice or did anything in there, shot a video, whatever, there would be, at some point, I would smell that smell in there. And that was the only thing that really happened until you bought this place and you moved out of it, and we went back to shoot the City Lights video. And we shot the video in that same room, and you know the house was empty. And I remember, I think we were packing up, and I think it was me. You, was Nate there?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. No, you left something. You left your stick bag or something. You left part of your kit.
I did. I left something at the house.
So the
and
next
we went
morning,
back.
it was the next morning we met up there before I went to work.
Yeah, but there was stuff going on that night because remember we were getting ready to leave, and actually I had never been upstairs.
Oh yeah.
And you were like, "Oh yeah, go," and you guys made me lead the way. And then I get up there and I make a decision to go left or right, and this guy's like, "What made you go that way?" I'm like, "Great, what the hell did I just do?" You know?
Because you went right to Nora's room.
Right. Yeah.
The heart of the house.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just.
I mean, you
told me
like
to go that way.
he went upstairs and beelined and then beelined. I mean, like directly to that little door.
Yeah.
And Nate and I were like, "What the fuck?" You left something, part of your rig. I can't remember what part of the drum set.
I think I just left the drums because it was late.
Oh, that could be
maybe. And then I was like, I'll just come back and get them tomorrow or something like that. I think it's because all that crazy stuff happened, and we ended up staying there because I think the clown cabinet actually opened up that night.
Yeah.
And I think it was we were talking about the bag of cops items, the
Yep.
cop you had,
Mm-hmm.
and we were talking about that, and we were talking about the old man that used to live there, I believe, and
Walter.
we started hearing random stuff.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You remember that? Yeah. And then I think Nate heard something upstairs.
Yeah. You always hear the door and people
Always.
walking.
But
Like-
what was really crazy was the next day.
Yeah.
That was the kicker.
I have goosebumps because I
Yeah.
really wish we would have caught that shit on camera
Oh
somehow.
man, it was crazy because we weren't, we were literally just there for a minute. It wasn't even like, I think literally I was just grabbing some stuff. You were letting me in the house, and that was it.
It was
And
like
we're
9:30 in the morning, by the
Yeah,
way.
early,
Full blown
shining,
sunshine. Yeah, it wasn't
like,
nighttime. It was
not
something creepy.
nothing
Yeah.
at all. And we're just standing there talking in the entryway, the foyer, whatever you want to call it. Was it the kitchen door or the back door?
There's a door that leads from the kitchen
Yeah,
right there, and it was wide open.
big heavy wood door, old school house.
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
not
they're-
like nowadays type stuff.
Yeah, the doors are 8 to 10 feet tall in that house.
Yeah, they're and it just slammed. And I mean, not like not like a normal just slam the door. I mean, it was a slam. Like it was almost like you reacted to it like an explosion.
I thought a bookshelf fell over.
It was
something like that.
It was really loud.
Like the clown case
really loud.
came over or
Yeah,
something like
it
that.
was. It was unbelievably loud. Like
Yeah, someone was
something-
pissed.
It was some severe force that shut that door that day.
Yeah, that was extreme poltergeist.
That was wild.
And
That
then-
was wild.
Dude, in that house, so that room that I'll tell a little story here that'll be in the documentary about it, just in relation to the doors. I've actually caught doors slamming. Actually, one morning I was painting Nora's room, and someone kept messing with the door handle, and I thought it was Nora messing with me, but this is
Right.
like 6 a.m. She was like out.
Right.
She sleeps like her mom, so she could sleep all morning, right? And like, I caught it on camera. I was just kind of going around the room, and I caught it, and I was like, got you, mother. Painting my daughter's room in my house, purple, obviously. And that shit. If anyone knows anything, this is the most haunted room in the house. Boom. Knew I'd catch it on camera. And the stuff there happens so much, and it's so frequently happening that like they're kind of like roommates. I know that sounds weird,
Yeah, I don't know how you.
but you know that
there.
though, just from all the years of me being there, like, and just telling you guys, oh yeah, that happened.
Always.
You just
You'd be like, "Oh, you ain't seen a lady yet?" And I'm like, "What the fuck?"
yeah, dude. Ziggy.
Zig saw it.
One night we were
Yep.
playing guitar. We were in the dining room, and he just kind of looked at me and goes, dude, I've seen a blonde woman walk back and forth twice now. And I'm like, yep. Well, when my mom lived there back in the day, there was a pool table right there. And we'd be playing pool, and there's a mirror that's built into the old fireplace that's in the house, original mirror that came with the house. And you'd be damn afraid to just look in the mirror because you just knew as you're playing pool, if you looked in the mirror, you'd see her standing behind you.
Right.
Yeah, and one night we saw that.
Yeah.
And I've never really liked looking in that mirror ever again.
Hell no, man.
And that's the same room Ziggy saw it, and that's the same room that the kids have all seen it. But people have seen a dark-haired woman. They've seen a blonde-haired woman. They've seen an old woman. I know there's a black woman on the steps.
I never saw anything there. You know, I've never really, honestly, aside from that first time seeing the mist thing and, you know, the thing over here, other than that, I've never really seen anything. It's all just been hearing, smelling, you know, stuff like that. So.
Shacked up my band members blame me for that. I think they should be like thanking me for experiences. You know what I mean? Here I am working my ass off collecting all this crap, and you complain that you see some dead people? Third story tonight is our British invasion boy, Mr. Miles Haysmith. Man, once again, I'm going to get blamed for this. You'll see. Do you have any ghost stories?
Only since I fucking started at the Roo. There's been a couple things. I know I had a client where it was just me, him, and then another tattooer was hanging out in my booth, and we were just quiet. I was tattooing. And then we heard this like lady voice come from like the back, and then it slowly came to like above us and stopped, and we just all like looked at each other. It was like, what the fuck was that? And there's that. I know we had that Stretch, the physical therapist guy, came in, and he's big on all that. And me and him were there closing up the studio, and I told him about, you know, all the like haunted artifacts you used to have in there and everything. And he was like, all right, I kind of want to mess with the ghost. I was like, all right, I'm gonna stand next to you during this, but yeah. And
Did a little late night provoking without my permission.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah. And he was just like, he walked around a couple areas and just like, hey, make a noise, hey, make a noise. And then from like we were at the bathroom, and like back by the pirate bar, we heard and it was kind of freaky. I know the other night I heard some clicking coming from Curtis's booth as I was leaving it. That could be, yeah.
So do you believe in spirits then?
Now, I was hesitant, you know, I wasn't against it. I wasn't like, oh no, that can't exist. But I was like, yeah, I've never experienced it. You know, that ignorant, like, oh, I don't know, so I don't know. You know what I mean? But yeah, now I do. Yeah, you brought me to the dark side for sure.
Cheers, Miles. Oh, thank God he never shuts up. You know what I mean? Just blah, 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 ghost this, ghost that. Adam, it's because of you. All right, last story of the night. My buddy Neil from Western Evil. Not everybody's going to believe in ghosts, and I thought it was important to put a skeptic on. Rewatching this clip a year later after it was filmed, I kind of forgot about how good these stories are. Do you believe in ghosts?
No.
Okay.
No.
No?
No.
I like it. But you do have stories.
I got stories, but I feel a lot of this stuff can be explained away to a degree.
I think that's safe to say with almost every story, right?
And then the things that can't, you just go, oh, that, or whatever. I don't know.
Denial's fun, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What you got? Lay some on the good people here
Well,
for the
first, let me say I am strictly grounded in science, and I do think that maybe as people, since all living matter is essentially just energy, and energy in different forms, I could understand how things could almost be an outburst of energy and played back, but I don't think there is any sort of awareness or intelligent spirits or anything like that. So that's why I had a little bit of a hesitation in the no, but like...
So you believe, or you understand, let's not say believe, like you understand that we're all energy and it can't be destroyed and it has to go somewhere.
Right.
Displaced energy sometimes can make things on Earth seem like spirits.
Yeah, I think
Is
so.
that kind of where your stand is?
I think so. I think that's probably as much as you'll get out of me.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to get more when you start telling these stories because, like I said, I have the disadvantage. I set you up a little bit because I know your stories.
Yeah.
And they're creepy, dude.
They are.
And it's like,
creepy
you don't
stories.
believe in ghosts, but this happened. So
Yeah.
I'm going to sit back. You're great at talking. Articulate the non-believing side of some of the
Well,
creepy
I mean,
you've experienced, man.
Geez, there's been a lot of things that have happened, throughout my time, and I will find a rational excuse to explain them away. But I'll tell you a few of them. I think the first experiences that I had as a kid started with my grandma's best friend, Lois. She would come over to my grandma's house, and they would have tea and coffee together, and she would tell my grandma stories about things that she would do, like astral projection, and she would tell my grandma who she saw, like, in her dreams, and she would always warn my grandma that people died in threes, and she would, like, have these dreams and tell my grandma who she saw, and then suddenly that person would be dead, like, within a week. So as a kid, I'm kind of overhearing this, not really knowing fully what is going on, but I feel like that's kind of where things started, because I loved my grandma's friend Lois. Like, she was great. She came over and she taught us how to do, like, homemade Ouija boards, and she was just super in tune with this kind of stuff. And so eventually we moved to Indiana, and we started messing with the Ouija boards up there. And I feel like that kind of maybe made an uneasiness in the house, whether I'm just a child and afraid of the dark or whatever. But I remember one specific time where things were falling in the bathroom by my mom's bedroom, and we couldn't figure out why they would just fly off the top of the toilet lid and just crash to the ground and stuff like that. And a week later, we found out that my Uncle Brian had gone missing, and he had passed away. And the day that the things were flying off from the bathroom was the day he actually went missing. And he was eventually found, and he had drowned. But that was kind of a couple of things that were strange. And I eventually moved out to Pennsylvania, and I moved into this really creepy farmhouse. And there was, like, bloodstains, like, on the wall. Like, there was, like, bloodstains on the carpet in the fireplace room, and there was bloodstains on the ceiling in the kitchen. And I asked my landlord, I'm like, well, dude, what the happened in here? And he was like, oh, well, I rented it out, a couple of years ago, and they filmed a horror movie in there. And I was like, well, what horror movie did they film in there? He's like, I don't know. I didn't get the name of it. And I was like, do you think you could find out? He's like, I'll try. Never told me the name of it. Nothing. Like, so it was always weird. And we never cleaned them, couldn't get them out. And we weren't there for too long before I started kind of having some strange dreams, which is just, your brain playing tricks on you. And I had these dreams that 2 children were buried in the basement under the cement slab that is in the basement. And I had a dream that I broke apart the cement slab and dug up the spot where these kids were. And once I dug them up, they got up and they started walking towards me, and I ran up the stairs and took off, right? I woke up from that dream and I was like, wow, it was so fucking bizarre. It was so real. Like, I can swear that someone, like, is buried under there. And it just left me with this weird feeling. And contacted my landlord. I was like, hey man, is there, like, this is going to sound real weird, but, like, is there any chance that, like, someone's buried under the house out here? And he goes, yeah, it could be. Like, that house has been there since, like, the 1700s. It used to be just like a log cabin, and we just added on to it. So yeah, I guess someone could be buried under in that foundation. I was like, okay, weird, creepy. So one day, a friend comes over, and we're showing them around the house because we haven't been there too long, so we had some friends over, and we're kind of having, like, a little housewarming thing. And we go down into the basement, turn on the lights, and we're kind of walking around, and then suddenly the light bulb right above that exact same spot explodes. And I'm not just saying it goes out. The filament just doesn't pop. The whole bulb shatters and just falls to the ground, keeping the base of the bulb still in the socket. And I noticed something while cleaning up the glass that was very strange, that had not been there before. There was small, like, oil stain footprints on the cement. I hadn't noticed those before. And I found that to be extremely weird, especially in relevance to my dream.
And the potential dead bodies underneath the slab. Where
Right.
go on.
So, we lived in that house, and it was always like a creepy feeling in there. And a couple of buddies of mine, my friend Charlie Classic, who would come and stay the night or stay the weekend with us from time to time, refused to go down in the basement. He was just terrified of it. He swore something was down there, refused to go in the basement. So, whatever. He was just kind of a pussy. So I was just like, whatever, dude. So Thanksgiving rolls around, and we'd been there for a couple of years. And I'm outside with my mom, who's like really into like hippie, new age, mumbo jumbo shit. And this car comes down this trail. The thing is, like, if you didn't know where we lived, you wouldn't find the house. It was completely lined with pine trees, and you had to go down like a quarter mile of a dirt road to even get to my house. So I'm watching this car kind of wind around the driveway and pull around the pine trees, and I'm looking, and these two older women step out of a car, and they come up to me, and they're like, they introduce themselves to me, and I say hi, and they're like, "Oh, we used to live here." And I said, "Oh, that's really interesting." I was like, "Do you want to come in? Like, we're kind of cleaning up Thanksgiving dinner. Like, do you want to come in?" And like, they just looked terrified. They're like, no, we'll never go back in that house again. And I was like, why? And the one woman talked about how they were terrorized by what they thought was a demon that lived in that house, and that she had seen like a claw or a hand come out of the closet that was in my ex's son's bedroom. And the other girl went on to say that like she felt that she would have scratch marks on her body, that she would find irritations and stuff like that while being terrorized by what they explained was a haunting. And they kind of pointed up at this one room, and that this room had a very eerie feeling about it at all times, like the entire time we lived there. And so I was kind of just like, oh, all right. Well, my mom was just like eating this up, and me, I'm just kind of like, yeah, whatever, you old crazy bats. But I will say this: at one point, my ex's son was in his room, the room that is supposed to have had a demon hand reach out of the closet. And we were downstairs, me and my ex, and we hear her son talking upstairs in his bedroom. So we kind of go upstairs to see what he's doing, check on him, see what he's doing, playing with his toys. And he doesn't hear us come up there. And he's standing in front of his closet, and he's talking to someone in the closet. And he's like, "It's okay. Come out. Come here. You can come out." And we were like, "Who are you talking to?" And he like turns and he looks and he goes, "The little boy that lives in my closet."
I swear to God, dude. I swear to God, if we lost that footage.
Oh no.
Let me look. I swear to dude, it had plenty of battery left. I'm telling you, man. It had plenty of battery left. Oh my God. I'm going to be.
Is it?
No way. There's no way it has to be fine.
Is it the ghost footage? Just the ghost footage, right? Because we stopped it right before, right?
We'll find out. When we started recording tonight, we both heard like a soda can.
Yes.
And it wasn't.
It was probably your air conditioning kicking on, and
The air conditioning wasn't on, and the vents are right there. So nice try with your scientific ass. Okay, we heard a soda can kind of coming on, and
I think the strangest thing about that it was the direction that it came from. It actually came from my left shoulder here over the back of side of me, and there's absolutely no cans in that direction.
Okay, so check this out too. On that note, is that this will probably all be a part of. Actually, not even probably. It will be a part of the episode where I have the guest on up into a certain point. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to have multiple episodes like this throughout October, but I'll make sure to put yours with Jason's episode. And this is the same closet area where he has even spoke about, I think even on that recording, of the activity that he's witnessed in this room back over here. So well, here we've even had it.
Oh yeah, here even. I mean, you know, nothing as crazy as your old house. I will say, your old house was pretty damn creepy, dude.
You freaked me out real bad one night. I look over at you and you're kind of like ghost white, no pun intended, and you're just like sitting there and you're like obviously freaked the fuck out at something. You remember that?
It was like something like literally just popped around the corner, like just boom, you know. I remember seeing a face, like there was a face there.
I just want to put it out there that we had extreme failure with 2 different memory cards and multiple batteries last night.
Yeah.
When we tried to film, and it was like the best ghost story. Anyway, so right when you're talking about the little boy, my battery goes on that camera from 25% left. I have 89% in this new battery because it was charging. 25% to that battery.
to 0.
To completely draining out the battery. And Mr. Science, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, we've been up here for a little while. Maybe they just, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so because I'll put this together, but that's the reason why that cut like that is because the battery went out. So
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead and go back for us a little bit. So he looked at you guys and goes, "There's a little boy in his closet," and he's trying to get him out.
Yeah, he's I'm talking to a little boy who lives in my closet, and we kind of looked at each other and were weirded out by it, you know, and that had actually happened before these people had shown up. So it was a little kind of concerning. Come Christmas time, the women actually came back and they brought their brother, and their brother, who also stated that he had really bad experiences in the house, did not want to go in the house, but they just wanted to look at it and see, you know, their childhood home. But even he had some stories of uncomfortability in the house. But my mom took it upon herself to do like a cleansing in the house. I don't know what, you know, burning things in holy water or whatever the hell she used. I will say the uneasy feeling that was in that house wasn't there after my mom did her like voodoo mumbo jumbo magic. So was it coincidence? Yeah, maybe. I think so. Was it like, you know, spiritual things? Maybe. Not for me to say because I don't necessarily believe in it. But I've had a lot of strange experiences throughout my life. And I'll share this last one because this one is, I think this one is probably the most sentimental to me. And it's not really like scary. It's not really like weird. But when I was a teenager, I had a dog named Lola, and she stunk. She was a little dachshund, and she just smelled like she was just a smelly dog. But she ended up having puppies, and she got really sick from having her puppies. And we thought that she was getting better, and so we allowed her to kind of go back to her puppies. And unfortunately, like, it was a bad choice, bad idea, and she got sick again. And she was basically dying in my arms.
No.
Yeah, it's we had gotten her, and it was just from some people who I feel like were inbreeding dogs, and so she was just not really a healthy dog, and we were unaware of it. So my dog, who, you know, I loved to death, was dying in my arms, and you know, I made my mom take her to the vet, and my mom was like trying to not do this, like let her die at home, you know, like peacefully. But I wanted them to make her better again, you know, of course. And so we take her to the vet, and you know, we have to leave her there, and we get a call the next day that she'd passed away, you know, at the hospital. And I was really upset about it. And maybe the day after that, I'm in my bed and I'm laying there, and My dog used to run into my bedroom and jump up like on my bed. Like she was too small to kind of get all the way up on the bed, but she would like kind of get there and kind of jump up and down and like lick at my face and wake me up. And you could smell her. You know, she had dog breath and like smelled like outside. And I'm sitting there in bed and suddenly like I just smell her. You know, and I'd been in that bed all night. I'd woken up and the smell wasn't there. It wasn't just stuck on my sheets. It wasn't, you know, like lingering like on the pillow or sheets or anything like that. And I smelled it, and I smelled it for like a good minute just being there. And then it was gone. And if anything, that's what I want to believe. You know, I want to believe that one. You know, I don't think a lot of people really pay too much mind for awareness of animals or the ability of an animal to feel a connection like we do, or sympathy like we do, or an awareness like we do in the human conscious. And I feel like that moment was special to me. Like, that was my dog. And if there was something afterwards, she came back just to see me again and say goodbye, because I didn't get to be there with her. And that's what I would believe.
That is an unbelievable phenomenon that happens often. And there's been plenty of dogs and cats caught on camera. Like, weirdly enough, there's one in particular that I can recall vividly. It's and if I find it, I'll send it to you online or whatever. When you're traveling, you can check it out. But the dog passed away. They didn't know the dog passed away, but you see them come home on security camera, and then this ghost dog apparition comes up to them and greets them, and it looks exactly like their dog, and basically waits for them to come home, says goodbye, and then leaves. So, yeah,
I think I've seen that one at the gate, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I've seen that.
That's a beautiful story. No, I like to believe it's something. I don't think anyone knows, and I think that's the beauty of it all.
Yeah.
You know? So for someone who doesn't believe, cheers. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Mine's empty.
Way to kill the scary vibe, man. I completely 100% forgot all about everything that we experienced during that interview. And it was strange, man. We did have to film his whole episode twice. Luckily, he was in town long enough to do that because he lives in LA. Basically, we had to refilm it. And then as he was talking about that and that ghost in that room, yeah, the camera shut off. Either way, I love it. And I appreciate every one of these guys for opening up about the weird supernatural experiences they had in their life or didn't have in their life. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Halloween is a big surprise episode for everyone. It's been a ghost story I've heard my entire life, and not one word has changed for 38 years. So until then, cheers, my friends. Happy Friday. Hope you guys like the content, because unfortunately, I'm going to keep making it whether you do or you don't. Yeah, I was douchey enough. Why are you still here? Fine. All right, cat's out of the bag. I've had some private investigators reach out to me and actually come to the door, dropping off information that we were shocked to hear. So there will be a SALTHOUSE 2 documentary, and things continue to happen. And I wasn't going to release anything until the documentary, but since you guys are awesome enough to watch to the end of an episode, which I think is great, thank you so much, because comments, likes, all that crap that we always beg for on these channels really does help. So I'm going to treat you. This just happened to me the other night. I promise you guys know camera tricks just like anything else. And if you'll notice, just like in the documentary, most of the things that happened on camera happened in this room, which happens to be the exact room that I'm in right now. So what you're getting ready to see happened literally where my hand is right here. Thank you guys for watching. Enjoy this creepy little clip. All right, same old story. Came down, started walking through. Noticed this was in the pathway that I walk. I didn't remember it being over too far. Pretty sure it was right there. On this little table right here, I have the camera that I constantly move to watch the booth. Like today I have a guest artist, so that'll be on the guest artist all day. And this is what I got.
Don't disturb me while I'm on Adam Stoner's podcast. Yeah.